We're gonna cook a beautiful steak. This is for me and Jules, steak night, date night. It's really quick, it's really delicious. I wanna share with you a brilliant technique to making the perfect sirloin steak, right? Tender, melt in your mouth, cut like butter, right? And then to elevate it, make it exciting, I'm gonna make my version of a red chimichurri sauce, full of flavor, full of life. It takes your everyday steak to the next level. So look, I've got a pan here, non-stick, large, on a medium heat. Let's start with the steak. Beautiful sirloin of beef. It's nicely marbled, and we've got this lovely fat here. This is mainly grass-fed, which is fantastic. But what we have here, can you see? This is a really tough, thick sinew. That's like a leather belt, and people tend to keep that on because they want to cook it with the fat. And what I would suggest to do is pull this fat off, and this fat is really, really important. This is going to give you the flavour, and it's going to give you the fat you require to cook this. But what we don't want is this sinew, right? Because you might remember ordering a sirloin in a restaurant and you get that really tough bit that you kind of push to the side. It's a real pain. So what I love to do is slice this up into little chunks, and what we can do is make crispy bits and render it down. So instead of putting butter or oil in this pan, we're going to cook the steak in the steak fat. And then here, get the knife, and I'll just skim off that tough piece of sinew. And honestly, that's as tough as old boots, and you'd have to stew that for 4 hours to make that tender. So we'll get rid of that. So as the fat comes up, can you see how it's getting crispy? Then I'm gonna put in here a couple of cloves of garlic. I'll leave the skin on, and that will flavor the fat as well. So that's really, really exciting. And then season that with lots of nice black pepper, and then some sea salt. Pat that in, and then just roll it around the board to pick it all up. So what I'm doing here is going for one thicker steak for 2 people. And by having a thicker steak, that means that we can get that lovely golden outside and still cook it medium rare. So often when you go to the supermarkets, one of the challenges is they cut the steaks very thin to make it a portion, and that makes it really hard to cook, you know, nice and juicy and blushing. I'm gonna wash my hands. You can see it starting to sizzle now. You can see it getting golden, all the crispy bits. Crispy bits are the best. As that's happening, I'm gonna use spring onions and chilies to kind of cook and char in the steak juices to make the most amazing red chimichurri. Really delicious. So, 2 lovely chilies. Run your knife down the length of the chili like that. They're normally sort of medium hot, but by scraping away these seeds, you're cooling it down massively. Go in with those halves of chili, and then I've got a bunch of spring onions here, right? So I've just given them a wash and given them a trim, and they go in as well. So all of this happens in the same pan. Chimichurri from Argentina and Uruguay would typically be parsley, oregano, vinegar or lemon, olive oil, garlic, and you'd use it in basting meats or finishing. And by kind of scalding and charring these spring onions and chilies, I'm adding a different dimension to my version of a red chimichurri. Let's do the sauce part. Typically, with a chimichurri, you just chop it on a board. But I want to use a liquidizer. I'm going to take the chili, half of the spring onions go in there, and then the garlic. I'll just remove that skin. And you see how the garlic just comes out of the skin like that. I'm going to take a little half a bunch of parsley. Also, I'm using these jarred peppers. They're sweet, they're roasted, they're peeled, and the flavour from these are amazing. Half a jar, in that goes. Now, take those splits of spring onion and the crispy bits off. We'll put those to one side. In the pan now, we have lovely natural beef fat. So that is when our steak goes in. So we're going to cook the steak in steak fat. When you're pan frying a steak, do it a minute on each side until it's cooked to your liking. So whether it's well done, medium rare, whatever you like. So I'll do a turn now. For me, medium rare is what I'm after, about 3 minutes on each side. But Jules likes it a little bit more than me, so I can give her the ends or meet her halfway. After 20 years of marriage, you know what the answer is. Meet them halfway. And what I love about this recipe, it's got a really nice flow. So as that's happening, over here, put a nice little lug of extra virgin olive oil in there as well. And then red wine vinegar, pinch of salt and pepper. And that, whizzed up, is going to be amazing. Right, the sauce is done. Let's keep turning the steak around. I reckon that's gonna be about medium rare. I'm gonna place that on top of the spring onions to rest. It's always nice to rest your steak. And a little bit of that steak fat we can just put on top like that, just to keep it nice and moist. So look, back to this sauce. And I've made more than I need for this meal for sure. But if you want to bag it up and freeze it, you can use this for so many different things. It's amazing as a dip. Let me just try a bit. Wow. You've got heat, but very gentle, really gentle. The parsley's there, it's fresh. You've got the fragrant garlic, and those sweet peppers is so, so good. I've got a nice big platter. I'm gonna take some of this sauce straight on there like that. It's an amazing consistency. 3 or 4 nice big spoons. The steak here, I want to just slice it beautifully. About 1/2 centimetre thick. Oh, Jules is going to like this. Nice and blushing. That is exactly how my Jules likes it. Look at that, beautiful. Super juicy and really, really tender. Lovely spring onions. And then the crispy bits. Now, to go with that, I've put in the oven a beautiful sweet potato. Take the skin off. I'm just gonna smash it up. You can do normal potatoes, of course, but that doesn't count as one of your 5 fruit and veg a day. This is actually a vegetable, it's delicious. I think the sweetness of this goes really, really well with the chimichurri sauce. And if you wanna kind of get some of that parsley that you had earlier, you can just chop that through and you just make it a little bit fresher. A little season of salt and pepper. And I think this just makes a really nice thing to have with the steak. So smashed sweet potato in here. Right, little taste before I serve it to my lovely, lovely girl. Look, we got the steak here. And that, with the sauce, and let's get a crispy bit. Come on, crispy bit, come over here. It's gonna be a thing of joy. It is so tender. Cooking the steak in its own fat makes it really, really delicious. If you love steak, try that technique. And that expression of the red chimichurri is so good with the steak. Sweet, fragrant. The chili's really gentle. That sauce takes your everyday steak to the next level.